Hey everybody, it's Paige with The Paige Show. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Real Talk, Real Life with a flair of spirit and a side of humor. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those great social media connections, and thepageshow.com, where you'll discover information about me, what we're doing, and what's happening next. Hey everybody, it's Paige with The Paige Show. I've told you we're going to be a lot of humor and a lot of spirit, and sometimes things would be a little bit more somber depending on the messages. Today it is a little bit of both, but I guess it's a little bit more on the somber, let's get real side of things. But it did start with something humorous of me poking myself in the eye trying to get my contacts out, right? Not a good one to take them out on a regular basis. And so oftentimes they feel stuck to my eyeball, and all of you watching right now who have been there know what that's like, prying your eye open and like rubbing around trying to get it to come off and hoping your eyeball doesn't come out with it. So anyway, I did that. I took it out and I'm like, oh my God, I can't see, you know, one of those moments. And it was really a humorous, somber awakening of like, I can't see anything right now. And it led to this, what we're going to talk about. I can't see. Does that make sense to you? Right now in the world, we can't see. Some of us, may have a little bit more of an idea than another of what's going on in their life, but as a whole world, we aren't seeing. We can't see, we're not choosing to see, or we just, we're not seeing. Whether the background has reasoning or not, we're not seeing why the world's going crazy, seeing as an understanding. We're not seeing certain logical explanations for things. We're not seeing God in things. Some of us don't see God or spirit, period. Maybe we don't believe that those things exist. But as a whole, there's some part of you that's just not seeing. We're not seeing the big picture. We can't see how all of the shit that is happening, because there's not really a better word for it, could be leading to anywhere good. Like, we can't see it. I couldn't see, and that was very symbolic of us we can't see. And I can say that over and over again, but I want that to sink into you, that, what happens when you can't see. There's times in our lives where we just can't see. This is a big one. There could be minor ones, but they all are a collective experience of memories for you, so that when we come to a time as this where we can't see how any of this makes sense or that any good could come from it, that you pull from the experiences in your rear view that did make sense, where you can have proof and validation for yourself that God always comes through. Spirit is always working and moving. And there are going to be all of you who want to argue me on this. Argue away. I will not engage, and I will not engage for multiple reasons. You cannot disprove to me that whatever your analytical explanation or angry rage wants to tell me, that God failed you, spirit doesn't move, things don't exist, you will not convince me of that. So waste your time, whatever, but I am here to tell you that that is not the case. The river is always moving. God has not failed you. Spirit has not failed us. They see, even though we don't see, exactly what the end goal of all of this is. They see. They never poke their eye out with the contact. Their seeing, their knowing has never gone away. And I will tell you that you will not convince me, because not only have I had enough experiences in my own life to prove it to myself, for it to be my belief system. I work with people all through the world, all through my life personally, that have those experiences. And even the ones who have had really hard losses, like the loss of a child, or a very traumatic, all the craziness in life, murders, and the worst possible way you could probably fathom how those people will say that God failed them or spirit failed them. The only way that they still stand in that believing is if they have not had a true spirit experience from their loss. So the people who have been taken through these traumatic experiences of murders or car wrecks or all of these things that, we label, they are actually a thing in our reality, of how God could not have, how could you say that spirit doesn't fail us when all of these bad things still happen? That's the ultimate question. Why does God allow evil in the world? Okay, I'm not going there, but it's gonna kind of blend in a little bit. Is because you can say, and you can't disprove to me that he has failed us or that spirit fails us, because if they don't talk on this side, they're talking on the other side. And I have a beautiful ability to hear it on either realm. And so, there are experiences that have proven it to me. There are people's experiences that have proven it to me in this life and also in the afterlife, as people who have crossed over, come through, and definitely make it known to their loved ones that God has not failed them, spirit has not failed them, is not going to fail them. The river is not going to stop flowing. You dam it up and it finds a way around. This is the message. So we can't see maybe right now in the darkness or through all of the shit that is happening, but the thing to hold true to yourself before we start really other topics around that is that, God is not failing us. A lot of us are wanting to jump ship physically, spiritually, literally, whatever, because we feel like nobody sees this. Spirit's not seeing this. God's not in control of this anymore. Like, we literally taken over the world and it's too insane to come back from. And I'm telling you that that's not the case. So if we can start on an understanding of that first, then we can move forward. So, my mom being a single mom, and there was times where she did not know where the money for food was going to come from. And maybe it came from a friend or her parents, my grandparents, who really stepped in on a big part of my life. But she will tell you to this day, through all of her hardships, and still, she's not a wealthy person. She's not trying to strive to be. She is very content and happy where spirit has led her on her journey. But yet she will tell you that through all of those experiences, her faith let her believe that God, spirit, was not going to fail her. And she will tell you, she looks back on that now and sees all of the ways that he did not. Now, talk to people. This is the beauty of talking to your parents when they're older, or elders, or just older people in general. They've lived longer, they have more experience, and they can give insight, hopefully in a beautiful way, of how things always come full circle, and the things that you can't see through always do have an outcome. And it comes in a way where if you, based on your perception of it or how you choose to react to whatever life throws at you, there can be examples of no denying that God did not fail you, even when you can't see. So right now, people, we're in a place where we can't see. And everything I'm talking about when I say God and spirit is not failing us will make all the people in the woods come out and want to strangle me for saying, are you telling me that God in spirit is going to fix this hot mess of a situation that we have created? Are you telling me that, God magically gave your mother the money to feed you when it wasn't there? Are you telling me that, it wasn't science that made me walk after I was told I would never walk again, and that it was spirit or God? I'm telling you all of the above. I'm telling you on the show, we've said it over and over, that everything is connected, and it's, my purpose, life, whatever, to bring that together as things come to me. Take what serves you, leave the rest. But I am saying, yes, get frustrated and yell all you want. It still is a fact in my world, in my experience, that yes, spirit and God has this. They got it. They got this. They got us. All right. I say on the show, I got you. I see you. I hear you. That's literally what Spirit is saying to us right now. I see you. I got you. I hear you. But what else do I do on the show? I talk about specific things, tools that we have to do to help us along the process. And that is also not different than what is happening right now. So in a time where we can't see, we feel like we don't really know how to fix this. There's some major issues of division, racism, politics, like anything that could have come to the forefront as a problem in the world just hit the fan. It's been years, decades, centuries in the making, but why is it just now happening? There's so many analytical, logical explanations for that. We can see it more. We have more connection to technology, and I can see what's happening across the world now instead of just what's in my backyard and all that blah, blah, blah stuff. That's not my thing. All of that is true. So I'm going to validate you now and get that out of the way. However, in the making, underneath the water, the river that is flowing underneath that, spirit that is flowing underneath that, the act of the stranger, the kindness of someone letting you in front of them in line when you're in a hurry and they had no idea that you were going to be late for something like a job interview to feed your family, or all of these synchronicities that happen where you don't realize the ripple effect of your actions. That is what a very skeptical, analytical person would explain as that is the physical, literal things that are going to change, right? They're actual acts. And so in their mind, that has nothing to do with spirit or God. It has to do with what? Us, our responsibility. So on one piece, where it all is going to come connected, stay with me on my tangent, they are correct. We are literally having to do something. You're not going to sit in your bedroom and $1 million drop in your lap. You're not going to pray over your child and they're going to magically, become something that you want them to be, or get off drugs or whatever. And on every spectrum of the spectrum, you have the people, and I've seen it. I've seen in my religious upbringing examples of people being healed, the laying of hands. And unless you've seen that or experienced it, it won't be a belief system of yours, it is what it is. But then I have seen the examples of where, that really wasn't technically maybe the official, God miraculously healing them, but instead it gave them some kind of encouragement or boost to motivation to do something different or seek health advice differently. And then that is what ultimately heals them. So if you're following me, what I'm saying is that we can't separate it anymore. So no, I am not saying that magically Spirit's just going to rain all of this goodness down on us and we just get to sit here and continue to be the spoiled brats that we are and receive it. Okay, there's some of that in the making. There has to be miracles, and there has to be these experiences that I'm talking about to catch people and to snap them out of certain ways of thinking. But as a whole, if there was a general rule of how I would describe it working, when I say yes, Spirit is going to fix this and God's got this, is that everything from the beginning of time came from a inventive idea that popped in. Our greatest minds of discovery of technologies that have led us to what we have today came from a thought, an idea, an invention, okay? And that was, some of the greatest minds will tell you, it just kind of popped in their head. And what do I talk about on the show? Things just pop in my head when you're in tune, or you take a moment to be in tune, or you allow yourself to do that. You just know things sometimes, or you feel to do something sometimes. So everything that has progressed society, physically and spiritually, materialistically, has come from some idea. Okay. And all of my Bible lovers, you can take that even to the Bible, the idea. I thought of the earth and boom, I created it. Okay, I'm very, very much summarizing, but God spoke it and there it is, right? There are these things that Spirit continues to speak in us as humans living this experience. We're spirit in a physical body living a physical experience. And so no, Spirit doesn't magically rain down your $1,000,000 for you, or magically stop racism, or magically stop fighting over religion and wars and all of this stuff, because if they did, it would have already been done, right? We get that. And that's why a lot of people don't believe in God and don't believe in these things that I'm talking about. But where they do rain down is that divine knowledge. They have things happen in our life that are supposed to be major roadblocks to allow us to go a different way. They allow traumatic events to happen in our life for us to seek healing, which then opens the world up to many more things. They allow something as simple as a friend thinking about me and sending me a e-card of Starbucks or something. And it was like, they had no idea I wanted to be on a budget and didn't want to spend $5 on a coffee this morning, but the coffee is something that really connects with me or serves me or is just a special treat for me, which, when you can't see, in a time where you can't see and all this shit is around you, something as simple as a coffee, fuels your soul. And then here your friend did something so divine and great for you that was such a physical act. So in a time where we're complaining and we've been a society where it's just getting worse, that I can't look at you a certain way without you getting offended. And I wasn't even looking at you. I was probably looking at some tree behind you because I like trees better than humans some days. And so we have collectively produced and reproduced and built on these sensitivity ideas that we are, the best way to summarize it, these children sitting in timeout with our arms crossed, pissed off that we're in timeout, and blaming everyone around us for why we're in timeout. Last year was a huge timeout. I said that to, I don't know, maybe every client that I talk to or person, is that, why we're so angry is we're in timeout right now. It was the first time that the world came to a timeout, and that's a reality check. If you're really, really spoiled and you've had the luxury of that, imagine all of that going away, and you would envision the tantrums that you're going to have around that. And so that is what is happening as a society, and the tantrums are coming out as riots, and for some very valid reasons, but they are coming out as behaviors of very spoiled children, a very spoiled society and a world. I live in the US, so, of course we can assume I'm just talking about us and my personal experience, but we have been a country that was founded on freedoms and luxuries and all of these things that a lot of places don't have. And it has created that spoiled child mentality. And so now that Spirit is shifting our awareness and saying, like, humanity cannot continue to treat each other this way, and you guys progress where I want you to progress, because you can't get the divine downloads that you're going to need to progress society. You're not going to be able to see what it is that we need you, that Spirit needs you to see, if you continue to act in these more negative, lower energy places. Now that they've brought us to a time of that, they're saying, okay, we're going to have to put you in timeout until you figure out that this is all on you. It's not the person outside of you that put you in timeout. It's not their fault that you're in timeout. And what are you going to do differently? So the not seen part and the whole, is God going to just rescue us part is, it is all combined. Spirit rescues us through us finally deciding not to be the crybaby in timeout and take responsibility for the things that got us there. So what got our society in timeout? you probably have 20 different things than I have on my list. And the next person, we can just create this whole collective. That would be an amazing community of people to get together and just throw out what do you think has gotten society and humanity in timeout? I'm going to touch on a few things that came to my heart with it. But for example, right now, what's going on when I talk about, it's not going to be magically fixed. It is spirit controlling it. Yes, they got this, but they got this through us, through we're the humans living the experience. We have to do the work. And so what work do we need to do to get out of timeout? It's going to come, and the change and the peace and all the things that we seek that, a lot of us have just said. I mean, I've been one for years. I've just said, let it go, because you cannot fix racism for people as one person. You cannot stop a war. Nobody knows who I am. I'm not going to make a difference. All of these things that we think. And while all of that is very valid, it is not technically true, because you as one person can't. But the idea of a person awakening and changing one act that then ripples down to the next person and how they change the next act, that is spirit controlling things, having this while the physical body, us people, are actually doing it. And so where it's all connected, where everybody, I think, can agree from whatever perspective you're in, is it comes down to us having to do the work to get out of timeout. It comes down to you taking a chance and doing something different than what you've done before. It's you deciding that you're no longer going to believe, what was taught to you, or you're not going to be upset anymore with what the history books have said. The society of timeout, where we are trying to look for what put us there and blame it on something instead of looking to what put us there to solve the problem and give us actions to get out of it, is the stuff that is causing the biggest issues in the world right now, where we look at history and we're now blaming history for stuff, and we're wanting to blame what happened centuries ago that God knows I would not have partaken in. I wouldn't have been a part in. But guess what? I didn't live back then. I'm still here. I'm with you right now. I did not live in that history book. And so what was supposed to be served as a rear view tool of what not to do and what to grow from, we are grasping at straws now to say, we are going to blame everything and anything for why we're here and why we can't see. When the reality is it's not going to change. We're not going to cure racism and the division and oh my God, the politics and the abuse of power and all of the things that we know are an issue right now. The list goes on. Starvation and inequality, the diverse range of wealth and poor. I mean, there's just no better word for it. We can't cure all of that. We can't say God's just gonna fix it all, because that's not what I'm saying. I hope that that's clear right now. But He's got it. Spirit's got it, because through us, the river of spirit that is never stagnant, it's never stopped. The river never stops. Spirit never stops. They give us the insights. It's our job to now do the work to get us out of it, to see, to start seeing. I blinded myself with my contacts, but guess what? I'm seeing now. I'm talking about it. It's a moment. It's a season. And so we can see what we do next, and in the doing is really how Spirit's got this. If we can see to do, then we can make those changes. And this sounds very preachy because, quite frankly, it is. And it's stuff that we've heard about and we've just let go over our head. Or we think I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. That's for somebody else. But there is always something that we have a problem with. There's always a part that we will play in these things, and it will not change. It will not change until we stop being crybabies and we stop blaming everybody else for being in timeout or being, why I poked my eye out. I mean, literally, I poked my eye out trying to rush to do it because the kids are not ready for school and everything is falling behind. And like, does that sound like society right now? Like, if I was a crybaby in this world right now, I would have blamed my kids for poking my eye out, trying to rush to get my contacts out. And none of that is really true. Can it be connected? Yes, but ultimately, no matter how we got here, we're here, and how we get out is what I'm talking about. And it's changing everything. It's, realizing that some of these actions that we're choosing, the topics I've talked about in the past, are no longer serving us. We're burning shit down and we're causing more separation over topics that should be over the specific topics of wanting to be not divided and not and wanting to be equal and seen as equal. Do you realize that all the topics that are a problem right now in the world really comes down to people feeling like they're not seen? They have not been seen or heard or treated equally for centuries, and I'm not just talking about race or sex or whatever. It's like there's so many issues in the world that have divided us. There's so many thought patterns that have divided us, and now we're seeing the outcome of that. We're seeing what put us in timeout, and we don't like it. So what do we do to get out? I wish I had the magic answer in the sense that I could snap my fingers, that everyone in the world would see this right now, that it would speak to their higher consciousness, give them their divine wisdom to do, and everything would happen at once, and we would do it all at once, and then there's your magic. Okay, I just gave you the answer. That's what has to happen. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen all at the same time in the snap of a finger, but it has to start somewhere. So you take responsibility for you today. You decide where you want to, stop racism in your life, or you want to stop playing the victim, or you want to stop blaming God, or you want to stop blaming politicians who are human like us, and so they're going to be flawed like us, and then the humans like us voted them in, and you have all of us blaming each other for that too. Like, do you understand how, when you say it out loud, ridiculous it is that we are screaming in time out about something that we literally are still doing in this moment to ourselves? It's so common sense that you're like, why, if it's so common sense, then have we not figured that out by now? And it's because of what I just said. We have started to figure it out, but it hasn't happened quick enough or with a synergy enough at the same time for it to feel like a magic snap of the finger change. Okay. And then because of that, we're the spoiled children who didn't happen fast enough, so we don't see it in the making. Okay, now do you see how all of my tangents come together? We haven't seen it working because it didn't happen fast enough for us. And then some of us have seen it work, and we are digging through the trenches of all the other shit thrown at us to try to stay believers. Okay, some of us have lost our way and lost our connection, and we've thrown our tantrum at God, and it was a WTF God, I don't care, I don't believe in you anymore moment. Okay, some of us are trying to keep our heads above water and are doing a better job at that than others, but ultimately it's your choice. And because of our choices, we have come here, and we have not, we've been in timeout, and we are still in timeout until we understand collectively that it has to be a synergy and timing. Okay, it has to be that we all decide to start doing that one thing. No, we're not like gonna go out and one person be able to do everything and cause the snap of the finger, but the ripple effect is just that. If you decide today, and if it's watching me or watching someone else or something being thrown at you that just, undeniably stopped you in your tracks. If you don't ignore that and let something else distract you, and you brush it off as not God or not a synchronicity that's important to you in life, if you can just see it and do that one thing right now, and everybody does that one thing right now to shift it, the one thing to shift the positive towards addressing all of these really, really heavy, negative societal issues. That is the way that the synergy starts to work. If the river is dammed up and I've been going this direction and you've been going this direction, but the river is still flowing, spirit is still flowing, at some point, we all know, you've probably seen that the water comes back together. If you haven't seen it, you know scientifically the water comes back together because rivers flow into oceans. Can you tell me right now that you can go out and stop the ocean? No, you can't stop the ocean, which means you can't stop spirit. You can't stop their workings. You can't stop everything that I'm telling you to be true, that they have not failed us or left us, but we are in time out and we are angry and crying about it instead of doing, and they're just waiting. They're waiting for us to doing the one small thing at a time that could lead to the really big things that then allow us to see again. And in the seeing, there's less fear and there's less doubt and there's more knowing and all of the positive things that I talk about, and the things that we as a society are going to have to get back to before we can let go of the anger and the rage and the frustration and the hate. And so it's all connected, as I say many, many times. And I hope you see those connections today in your life. And I hope that this speaks to you to go and change that one thing right now. Get up wherever you are, stop what you're doing, do that one thing that pops in your head, the first thing that pops in your head that says, to be a better human right now, while validating and acknowledging the rage or the grief or the sadness or loss or whatever I'm mad at spirit or God for. If I can still acknowledge that and validating that it's still there, but I can, put on my big girl panties and I can man up and I can say, I'm not okay being a toddler in timeout anymore. And I'm going to do one thing that may be really uncomfortable, but that could shift not only my life, but the universe and humanity as a whole. And I don't have to see it right now, but I can trust that because I know God has never failed, spirit has never failed, and they've got this, and the river never stops flowing, that if I can trust that, I can still do this one thing without seeing or knowing the outcome, but I can believe that that it is what makes the difference, that it is contributing to a consciousness outside of me and a synergy that's bigger than me, that is the solution. That is how spirit fixes it all. That is how humanity does the acts to fix it all. And you can be a part of that. I would much rather look back from the spirit world when I cross over and be able to say that I was a part of that. And I hope that wherever I find you today, there's something in you that would like to say the same. That's it for today. But until we do it again, remember, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and let's keep loving, laughing, and lighting up this world one badass person at a time.